So in this lesson, 3.5 Part 1, we're going to talk about graphing lines that are in the format of y equals mx plus b. So remember, in the equation y equals mx plus b, m is the slope, and we just lightly touched on the fact that b is the y-intercept. We didn't really figure out or cover what that was in the last lesson, but we will today. So b is your y-intercept. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 says y equals 4 over 3x. That is, since y is by itself, it's already in y equals mx plus b format. And you should recall from the last lesson that the coefficient of your x is your slope. So definitely the slope of this line is 4 over 3. What we're missing is the y-intercept. Well, if the y-intercept had been 0, it would have looked like that. And in simplest form, this plus 0 doesn't matter, and we don't usually write that. So to graph this, you will always start at your y-intercept. So we're going to start at 0 because that's our y-intercept. We don't always start at 0, so don't get in the habit of that. So you go to your y-intercept and you make your dot. From that y-intercept, we're going to use our slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. Our rise is a positive 4. That means go up 4. Our run is a positive 3. That means go to the right 3. You can do that twice. You have 3 lines now. All you need to do is connect the lines, and you've graphed that equation. So if you look at your answer choices, it can't be B or C because those are pointing downhill from left to right and would be a negative slope. This goes uphill from left to right, so it's a positive slope. So the only options this could be would be A or D. Well, A crosses the y-axis at -1. So in picture A, your y-intercept was -1. Our y-intercept was 0. So the correct answer would be D. So we'll do one more of these. Let's do number 5. So in number 5, we have the equation y equals -1/3 x minus 2. So notice this is a negative slope. Negative slopes will point downhill from left to right. And we're always going to start at our y-intercept, our b. This is in the format y equals mx plus b. So b is -2. That's where we go. From there, we're going to follow our slope. Our slope says -1 over 3. That's our rise over run. Well, our rise is a -1. That means we go down 1. And our run is a positive 3. That tells me to go to the right. Down 1 over 3. There's a few points. All we need to do is connect those. And you can see how a line with a negative slope looks. It goes downhill from left to right. So we need a line that looks like that goes downhill from left to right. So it could only be D. All the other lines have C or D. A and B both have positive slopes. C and D are both falling as they go from left to right, so they're both a negative slope. But let's look at our y-intercept. C has a y-intercept of -6, so the correct answer is D, the one with the y-intercept of -2. So as we go on, remember in the last lesson we covered graphing horizontal and vertical lines. So if you have the equation, for example number 7, y equals 5, because it's y equals 5, then it's going to cross the y-axis at 5, and the only way to draw that line is that way. X equals equations will cross the x-axis, So if I had x equals 3, it would cross the x-axis at 3, and it would be a straight up and down line. So depending on the variable you have in the equation, you will know how to graph it. Now all this is easily graphed as long as your equation's in slope-intercept form, but what if it's not? So let's look at number 11. X minus 3y equals 3. Remember, to be in slope-intercept form, y must be by itself. We're going to subtract x from both sides. So negative 3y equals, remember that x is pushy, it pushes right in front. Now divide every piece by negative 3. These will cancel. So y equals negative 1 over negative 3x plus 3 over negative 3. Well, the negative 1 over negative 3, those negatives will cancel each other out, be positive, and that would be a minus 1 on the end. So for this graph, our y-intercept, or our b, is a negative 1, so we'll start there and then we'll use our slope. It says go up 1 over 3, so it looks like that. Here's our graph. And so you can find the correct choice there on your sheet. I believe at the end you're given two different kinds of values. So if you go to number 26, 26 gives you an x-intercept and a y-intercept, and they want you to graph the line. Well, if the y-intercept is where you touch the y-axis, then it stands to reason, or it's common sense, the x-intercept would be where you cross the x-axis. So on number 26, it says the x-intercept is 3. That's right here. The y-intercept is negative 2. That's right there. And then you connect those dots to graph that line and just match it up with the correct picture. Okay? X-intercept and y-intercept. Remember, if you have y by itself, you can graph it immediately because you have the slope right in front of you. And if you don't have y by itself, the easiest thing to do is to solve that equation for y. Okay, good luck.